Hello and welcome to Spike Piledriver. We're going to do our first Let's Play series on TEW IX. We're using Coastal Zone Championship Wrestling from the default database, and we're basically going to book this small California independent promotion and try and take them as far as we can in as short a time as possible. But we're going to try and go through every single show and make things interesting. Now, speaking of every single show, there are a couple of things I have changed. Well, there's one. I guess there's 6 things I've changed. In the schedule, I've added some extra shows, and once we've gone through tonight's event, I will go through and show you the schedule as well, because I'm already in the PM part of the show. We've already started booking the show. But I'll go through and show you the events we've done. We've basically compressed the 12... No, added to the 12 shows, not compressed. It's the opposite of compressed. We've added 6 shows to make it 18 overall. Turned our season finale, Welcome to the Coastal Zone, into a 2-night event because that's a new feature in the game, so why not take advantage of it? And essentially added a few shows. We've added a Royal Rumble equivalent, we've turned one of the shows into a Money in the Bank equivalent, and we're going to go from there and see how the year takes us. So 18 shows in a year rather than 12 fleshes out the calendar a little bit more. What we've also done is we've added people into our inner circle. We haven't added anyone to the booking team yet because there isn't anyone to add just yet. We're going to see how we go on just on our own as our own user character, Fox Mask. But looking through what we've done to the inner circle, we've got Frankie Perez and Mas Cougar as our locker room leaders. But unfortunately, as we'll see in a second, they are both in Japan. So it's not worked out great. We have got a talent relations head of, who is Pee Wee Jermaine, who is our senior referee. Frankie Boy Fernandez is our morale officer and the head men's trainer. He's already started helping 8 students today in the first event with their basics and safety. And Mas Cougar's doing the same job for the women, but again, made a mistake here because as soon as I've done that, he's then been signed on a touring deal to go to PGHW, Pride Glory Honor Wrestling in Japan, so that's not going to be ideal. So he and Frankie Perez are both missing tonight's show as they're in Japan. As you can see here, booking team, still just Fox Mask, not added anyone to it yet. We shall see how that happens in the future. We might add some more people in. No figurehead at the moment. Nobody is suitable enough. Frankie Boy Fernandez is probably the closest to it, but other people are better in different areas, so nobody stands out as worthwhile doing that. We go through our champions as well at the start of the save. For Frankie Boy Fernandez is our Coastal Zone champion. He's our main eventer, our big star, probably going to get snatched up by a big promotion in the not too distant future. Tag team champions, the Beach Boys, Chet Chavez and Simon Waves. They're current champions since the middle of October, even though the original calendar didn't have a show in the middle of October. That doesn't make sense, but never mind. Speaking of October, the Coastal Zone Extreme champion was crowned at Hardcore Halloween when Carlos Barrera became a 2-time champion. We've also got the COT World Heavyweight title held by Frankie Perez. But again, I've borrowed the Alliance title and then realised he's in Japan tonight, so that's not useful. And we've added 2 special sort of achievements as well. So the Reach for the Sky contract, which is kind of like a Money in the Bank, so it's a ladder match at that event with the same name, which grants the winner a contract to face the Coastal Zone Extreme champion at a show of their choosing over the next 12 months, and that contract can be won and lost after it's won in the ladder match before it's cashed in, essentially. But something that can't do that is the Riptide Rumble, which is a company-wide battle royal, which gives the winner, very, original of me, but a match for the Coastal Zone Championship at the Welcome to the Coastal Zone weekend. Not necessarily on night 1 or night 2, we'll see, but it's a battle royal, basically a Royal Rumble. But don't say it too loudly, it's the Riptide Rumble, and that's what we are calling it. Right. The product for our company is very match heavy if you're not familiar. There's not a face-heel divide, there's not a women's or a men's division, it's all intergender, everything mixed in, and it's very match heavy. 10% angles at best for events, so you'll see a lot of matches and very few angles as we go through to the booking sheet. Speaking of the booking sheet, if you've seen on either the Grey Dog forum or the community page here on YouTube, this is the card that we're going with tonight, apart from card subject to change because 2 people are missing. So if we go back and go on to the actual booking screen and absent workers, Frankie Perez and Mas Cougar are both in Japan, so they're not going to be wrestling in their scheduled matches tonight. So Mas Cougar was in a 6-man, and Frankie Perez was supposed to defend his COT World title against Miguel Rivera, who is now going to drop in to the 6-man, replacing Mas Cougar. So it's kind of worked out okay that we've combined 2 matches into one, but not ideal, really. There we go. That's just how it is. That's what happens when you're a small promotion and some of your stars get taken away to Japan. So what we did as we went through running them, setting up the show, is we got a creative finish idea, which you can add here somewhere. Creative finish. So we've stored a likely to succeed creative finish from the booking team. So we're going to add that into our main event to try and boost up the match rating for our main event, which is going to be Frankie Boy Fernandez against California Love Machine for our Coastal Zone title. We've added in a couple of angles as well, which we'll go through when we run through the show in a second. And we've also got a basically everyone who's not on the card gets on the pre-show 5-way match. Not done anything other than chucked everyone in the big bucket and see who's going to fall out the other end as kind of who gets on the card and wins a match. On the pre-show though, not on the televised portion. I say televised, it's on WrestleWorld, which is on demand, I believe, so it's kind of televised, but it gets us exposure around the whole country and not just in California, which is good. I did go through all the pre-show stuff. There was nothing much to decipher from there. Pee Wee Germain handled a few things as head of talent relations, but nothing we can really have to worry about. If we look through booking analysis, obviously the 2 matches that were added to the pre-show that can't be done, they can't be moved now because I've left it too late to move them, because I looked through the availability section here. If I can find it again. I can't find it again. Okay, I think the availability section is in the events and TV, which I can't get to in the PM. But basically, I looked through there and didn't realise that the tour had started. So Frankie Perez and Mas Cougar are going to miss this show. They're going to miss a couple of other shows. They might drop in every now and then. But I'm probably going to try and get the COT World title off Frankie Perez because he's not going to be around to defend it. But without any further ado, we've got all our matches added in. We've added in a couple of angles just to try and see if they work with our fan base. And we've covered 113 of the 120 allotted minutes. So it's just under 2 hours. Nice quick show in San Diego is where we are tonight. So we're going to go through here. Welcome to CZCW, the Coastal Zone Revolution. This is just the pre-show. Chuck everyone. It's actually got a really good rating. 53 for the pre-show. Eureka LaBelle won this one. I mean, I just didn't set anything other than warm the crowd up. So they're now expectant. Crowd rating up to 21. Wrestling rating 49. As you can see, that's the work the crowd. Road agent note, that's all we added in. Anything to note on the dirt sheet and the booking details? No. Let's go through to something that will, hopefully, factor into the actual show. So that's a good start, and it's immediately dumped off by Altitude, getting a victory with a 720 splash over Foxmass 2. Again, this one's designed to work the crowd, but the crowd were not particularly happy. A 5 rating. This probably should have gone on the pre-show, but never mind. They're going to get a little bit more exposure. Altitude we're probably going to try and push a little bit as well. Foxmask 2, obviously our protege, as we are Foxmask as our user character. But 38 segment rating to start the show, but immediately bettered once we get into our tag team series, where we've got 2 4-way matches. The winners of both will earn a title shot in the future. So this one's won by Bullseye to give his team the title shot, improve the crowd heat as well. Got a 46 segment rating. I'm not going to pre-book from this screen because we haven't done the title match later, so we could have new champions in the tag team division. I should also mention we've got 1,766 people in attendance, which is a pretty good crowd for a small independent promotion. But we're in San Diego. The next tag match, the next 4-way match for the tag title shot is then won by Amy St. James. So she, along with Ellie DeGrazia, get a title shot as well as Bullseye and Whale on Walls. So a 50 rating here, so slightly better match rating. You can see Jay Becker did a good performance as well compared to the rest of the match. The crowd is now white hot. That is good and promising. We're building the crowd up nicely and keeping it going with a 54 rated kind of throwaway tag match. Wrestling getting a 45 rating. Basically this let down by Killian Catsby, who was really off his game at an 18. 59 for both of the Wildcats, though. They putting in a strong performance to get the victory in just under 7 minutes. The crowd now very hot. We're probably going to have to keep that going. So now our 6-man tag that had to be changed. Miguel Rivera dropping in instead of Mask Cougar. Those 2 matches that were affected by our Japanese friends. American Flash put in the best performance and got the victory as well with a high velocity senton, 47 average rate, 47 segment rating. Very hot crowd now. We're getting nicely into the show, and we're going to go into a tag team title match as well. Kira Lee putting in a really strong performance, carrying the match, but unfortunately not enough to take the titles. It was an all-out show-stealing contest, but the tag team titles were defended in the end by the Beach Boys as Simon Waves took the victory, submitting Sky Hermosa. 59 segment rating, 50 wrestling rating. Kira Lee putting in the best performance, as said. But Chet Chavez and Willow are an awkward pairing. They've not got any chemistry, which is not good because Willow and Simon Waves have got good chemistry. So maybe if we split the Beach Boys up in the future, we know which way their manager is going to go. It'll be with Simon Waves because she doesn't get along with Chet Chavez. But another good match, and then we're going to drop into our first angle, which has gone down like a lead balloon, apparently. The two teams that I forgot to write an angle description for this one, so never mind. The two teams who won the four-way matches earlier, so that's Amy St. James and Ellie DeGracia, and Bullseye and Waylon Walls, are getting title shots at some point in the future against the tag team champions. They've struggled when no one's done any. They've just worked the crowd. There's no dialogue, but everyone's struggled with the dialogue. It's brought them. It's cooled the crowd a little bit, I'm sure. A 26 rating, but we'll skip on from that into a great match for the Extreme title. Carlos Barrera winning with a Curb Your Enthusiasm, a 66 rating, 64 for Barrera, 51 for Perez. Really good, strong showing from the champion to make his second defense of the title, the Extreme title, and we're not going to change any champions by the look of things as we go through the night, but Barrera putting in a really strong performance and getting the victory. Then we've got a pre-tape, which has worked really well. We're going to probably stick to pre-taped angles backstage. So we've got backstage interview with the Guru, Frankie Boy Fernandez taking shots at fellow champion Frankie Perez for being too busy in Japan to make his scheduled title defense. He's going to show the whole roster how a real champion looks when he beats his former tag team partner and friend in the main event, because he is our main event. 59 segment rating. Hopefully now we're going to have the match of the night, and it's going to really end the show in style. 64 segment rating. The creative finish was a failure, and the match was too short. So there we know. We need to know now that main events need to be longer than 18 minutes. A dirt nap from Frankie Boy Fernandez gets the victory, and he makes his first defense of his title. They both put in strong performances, 72 and 56. That's quite good, really. A 64 overall rating for the segment. And as we said, the creative finish did not go down very well, so it could have probably been a better rating if we hadn't put that finish in there. That shows us that we aren't that creative. And again, too short, so okay. Longer main events, noted. But there we go. That was our main event. That's our first show, and it's really good. 57 overall rating because we've got worse production values than some of our rivals. So the music, the live event experience, and the production values itself bringing down the show gives us 57 overall rating, but that increases our popularity in 18 regions, which is, I think, every region it's been shown in. Probably looking at the ratings, we should have got a little bit higher than 57 overall, but I think that's a good start to proceedings for Revolution. We'll go through the post-show. We're not going to address the locker rooms now. There's no injuries, which is good. Quick look at financials, and we've made a profit of $21,000 for the show, all on ticket sales, essentially. Broadcast revenue was just about there, which is all broken down by just because it's advertising from the broadcaster. Worker costs are the big one, 10 grand, 11 grand on work costs, but nearly 30 grand on ticket sales means we have made a profit on the show, which is suggesting we should definitely do more shows, which is good. Popularity recap everywhere in America and Canada, up, but not up enough to change the rating. So we're still 30 in the Northwest, 44 in the Southwest. So that show rating of 57, keeping us ticking along nicely in all regions. Excellent. No media scrum needed, because who's going to come to a media scrum held by us? And that's it. That's the post-show. We've done a really good debut show. Started a few things, kind of ticked over and got into the swing of things rather than setting any big stories going. But we'll try and do that as we go through further. We'll have a quick look through now. Viewing figures, got 40,000 views nearly on Wrestle World, which is good. much more than who were in attendance, that's for sure. Obviously showing the national reach of the broadcaster. As I was saying, we'll go through the events now. So we've done Revolution already. Next up is Vendetta, but that's been brought forward to early February rather than mid-February. Uprising brought forward from March into Feb. Spring Break Batch, again, brought forward a month. And then we've got 2 new shows added in. So the Riptide Rumble, which, as I said, is kind of like a big Battle Royal, this big Royal Rumble to give us a title match for our main show of the year. Coastal Combat is then added in. And as mentioned, Welcome to the Coastal Zone is now a 2-night event, taking advantage of the multi-day show feature. And then Surf Slam Tidal Takedown added in at the beginning of July, just before Battle on the Beach. Wave of Fury still there in August. And then we've added Coral Clash before the Reach for the Sky, which has been kind of rebranded to that ladder match, as we mentioned. Carnage at the Coast to keep that theme of shows. And then finishing the year with Hardcore Halloween, Showdown at Sundown, and Christmas Cage Chaos, as you would in the default data. So I've kind of made it so we've got shows roughly every 3 weeks, apart from the double header at the end of May, and a bit of a slower end to the year as we get through towards Christmas. So they are the shows. That's the first show of the series. We've got 3 weeks, 20 days now until Vendetta, so we'll build the card up, post that on the community page, and get back with the next episode very, very soon. If you've enjoyed this, please like the video, subscribe here on Spike Piledriver, and we'll be back very shortly with Vendetta in the next episode. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the show, where you want to be going, who you want me to see booking as well, and pushing, and all sorts. And let me know your thoughts on who should be champions, and maybe we'll have a look at making some changes as we go through the year. But thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.